Hello Gemini, thank you for tuning in to your general read. For the main read, I'm using the Modern Spellcasters Tarot by Melanie Marquis, and it's illustrated by Scott Murphy. And the, what is this? Magical Unicorns Oracle Cards by Doreen Virtue, PhD. I just really should put the PhD on this one. I'm trying to make sure I say that. When I was shuffling the Oracle deck, one of the cards came out, and it looks like it's supposed to be an overall energy. We have, I don't know if it's like a theme at the moment. We're still in Leo, I believe. I'm kind of fuzzy on what the date actually is. I think we're in Leo, though. You and I think two of the Earth signs had face down cards, and I didn't do those. Those were other days, but I'm just like, huh. It's interesting when there's face down, and you have like 3 of them as well. Part of it's your overall energy. Let's look at that actually to start with, because what's right side up is the 3 of Wands for you, and in this deck, it's very much of letting something go, freeing yourself from something, or sometimes sending out a message. Just the way this looks, because sometimes, because these birds seem to be bringing gifts and stuff, but there's something in transit here. Something in transit is what I'm really getting for you, your overall energy. Something in the process or on its way. And what you're not seeing is how gifted you are at this. It's face down, so I'm under... Usually when face down happens, either the people don't know about it or you're keeping it very covert. You're not letting people know. But I feel like you're not aware of how gifted you are in getting what you want, like how powerful you can be. Especially with communication. I feel like that's really a gift you have. If you're watching this and this ends up hitting for you, I'm thinking you definitely have a gift for making things happen through conversation that maybe you're not aware of how effective you really are. Only because that's face down. Because usually when there's a face down card, there's some type of mystery to it. Either you're not understanding, either you're not seeing it, or you're not letting other people see it. And I think in this situation, I don't think you're seeing how gifted you really are at making things happen through your conversations. Like, I think what happens is you tend to have things happen and not realize how much you actually had to do with it. How much you actually brought together what you wanted. Having a coffee moment. When you're going into this, you have the 8 of Pentacles, which is continuing work, continuing effort. Hopefully you're almost to the part where you're finished. And you're at that part where you're feeling like you're right about where you want to be, and I feel like you're very happy with that. You get the definite yes above it for you, which means you're very happy with what you're seeing here, which makes me question, do you not know, or do you know of how strong you are with communication? I'm curious. Because it seems like you're realizing things are going to work out. Everything is looking good. Very happy, very, very happy at the effort. Now, we have something face down here in the environment, which means this is something you're not aware of. 4 of Swords. Somebody on the other side, and it's reversed, actually. So I feel like you have freed this person up from what binds them. It makes me feel like most of the time this person might feel, or in this situation at least, this person that you're affecting, it's a person, they usually feel kind of boxed in, or like they can't really step outside the norm. But you seem to give this person a freedom, like something about you has given this person a freedom to consider or do something that they thought they were not allowed to do. So I feel like this is face down, which means you don't realize that you're giving this person this type of freedom. I feel like, especially with the swords, and swords are usually communication for me, This deck, I think it's more of a fire feel they usually use in this deck because they use rods as air in this deck. That's not usually how I treat them, but in this card, the way this is feeling to me, you're freeing somebody up from a negative, from like a restrictive thought that they had, that they believed they could not do, but you're not seeing it. So in other words, this seems to be affecting the situation and things are going your way. I wonder if this is why you're not realizing how gifted you are, because I feel like you're talking to somebody and you're explaining to them what they can do even though they may not believe it. And you're not realizing that they are listening and they are thinking about what you're saying. I feel like you're having an effect on this person. That might be what you're not realizing you're having an effect. You're freeing somebody from mental constraints, which is a great thing. It's very interesting. Now, that being said, another reason I think you might not be aware of it is because the Queen of Cups, and I'm going to say also, in this case, in this deck especially, you'll notice she has her hand over that cup. This is the environment. This person very much adores you, but they're on the down low about it. I'm feeling, well, do you know? They're telling me you know, but it's very much on a quiet thing. It's like they might let you know what's in that cup, but not everybody knows how they feel about you. It's very, very quiet. Now, this could go in a few different ways, I'm very well aware, but you know how they feel is what I'm getting. Not everybody does, especially when I see the lovers in the center here. Now, I always say this with the general reads. It could just mean a very close, tight bond with somebody, or it could very well mean what it looks like, a romantic bond. But you'll notice on this card in this deck, to me it looks very... It doesn't look overly passionate. It's like very honorable, hands looking at each other. It's almost like at that marriage ceremony. It's at a marriage ceremony when, you know, they're looking at each other and they're very serious about the situation. And of course, you know, their hands have the what do you call that? Is it a binding ceremony? Either way, I mean, it's supposed to be, I feel like it's supposed to be romantic, but it feels to me, it always feels very technical to me in this deck. There's beautiful rainbow and heart, like they're making it obvious. It's about love. Although with the X on the heart, it makes me feel like it's a button. So sometimes it makes me feel like it's more diplomatic. I'm just saying that for this general read because it doesn't have to denote sexual love, but it's definitely a camaraderie, a very strong bond with another person at the very least. So this seems to all be happening. You know how this person matches with you. And I am getting for some of you, definitely this is a business connection and it's not, there's nothing physical going on, but you and whoever you're working with, in some cases it's a boss or it could be a subordinate, however this is working out. You each know how you feel about each other and you're on each other's side, you're looking out for each other when necessary. Alright, so this all seems to be happening. You have freed this person from constrictive thought though, and I'm wondering if this moment happening right here is like a moment where you realize it's obvious to you that you're both on the same page. I'm still curious if you realize, I don't think you realize how much you've freed them from like restrictive thought, which can go a bevy of ways. So that's the big part in the first half here. Things are going well. You're realizing they're going well, but you're not realizing that you're having this effect on this person. Like you're freeing them from mental constraints. It seems very important going forward. Because there's more stuff about this person you still don't know. I'm not sure what it is yet because it's face down, but we'll find out. Now, as this bond is cemented, in one way or another it's cemented in, and you're both aware that you're both cemented into this relationship, however it may be, you're both on the same page, you're both looking out for each other. You then have the Seven of Wands, and especially in this deck, and I know I've said that a lot so far, the way that person holds that one wand and steps on the others, they're completely confident that whatever comes their way, they're going to overcome. And if they need to go forward, they have no problem. They have a bird. Right, see, there's this deck with the rods. See how the bird is there on the sticks? Now, rods to me are traditionally fire, but because you know you light a rod on fire and it burns. That's where I get it from. The bird there, though, there's an element of communication with Gemini. Great with communication. it makes me feel like you're talking to people and you're looking out for the future. You have plans, or wherever you're thinking you're going, you're keeping your ear out. And I especially say that with the Page of Wands, because you'll notice there's birds all over here too, and you notice he's listening to the birds in the trees here. Again, I get a very active, like it's a very active thing you're doing. You're searching this out. You're in control of this. Whatever you're going forward for with this person, however it's going, you have your ear out to make sure this works. Now, this is an interesting card. It's called the Grandparent card. Now, I don't read this as blatantly, or what word, as raw as it would seem. I take this usually as garnered knowledge, like history coming forward, the things built from history, knowing, having an inner knowing, having that deep knowledge, having a deep trust sometimes. With this, because it's face down on the other side for this other person, this person completely trusts you. Even if you do something wrong, they trust your motives. That's what I'm getting from this. Because it's kind of like how a grandparent looks at a grandchild, which I don't know if that's creepy in this sense, but that's what I'm getting. They always see the best. And even if they do something wrong, they don't feel like that's what their original intention was, and they always give them the benefit of the doubt. They have that doughy-eyed look, like my grandchild could do nothing wrong. I've come across that a few times. They even if they make mistakes, they'll learn from it. Everybody makes mistakes. Like, even if they do something wrong, they were supposed to do something wrong. It's kind of how they look at it. And there's a lot of mature knowledge, mature outlook on this. Like, very thoughtful, very dedicated. I get from this extreme dedication. And I don't know if you're realizing that yet. Even though you're on the same page, this person thinks you are completely on board. Even if something goes wrong, you didn't mean for it to go wrong, and they still have full faith in you. Like, whatever you do seems to be the right thing in their view. That's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting. And this card, I'll be honest with you, it's a tricky card for me because it comes in a lot of different ways, and I just, as the information comes, I push it out. So I'm sure there's going to be people who leave comments on how they feel about that card, and that's fine. Let me know. I mean, I love to hear the different versions about what people feel of that, but that's what I'm getting for it right now. Especially when you're out here, you're looking for information. Like, you're out here with, because it seems to be matching this card. It's very curious to me. Because I feel like when you're out there garnering information or you're looking for stuff, it might usually be a little bit uncomfortable for this other person involved. But they're not worrying about it. However you're doing it, they're just trusting that you know what you do. I feel like the way you're getting the information just may make them a little uneasy because they want to keep it quiet of how close you and this person is, you and them are. And the way you're talking about stuff, it's kind of making them nervous because you seem to be directing the questions more towards them. But they're still trusting that you've done this before, you know what you're doing, it'll work out, they'll just sit back and let you do what you need to do, and things are going to work out. There's a lot of trust on this side, an extreme amount of trust. Like, it's good. I feel like you have good intentions, and that's a good thing, because if you didn't, I feel like you could run this person over very easily. But I'm feeling you have good intentions in this situation, so I'm not worried about that, not that it would matter. But I'm feeling it's all working well, but I feel like you need to know that this person is very blind faith with you. Whatever you say seems to be the right thing. Blind faith. I'm seeing a lot of blind faith here. That makes sense. I'm seeing a lot of blind faith. Okay. Your outcome here is the King of Wands. Now, one of you is ending up in a power position. One of you. Whichever one it is, I feel like it's already been pre-decided by the two of you who it was going to be. So this is happening as the two of you wanted it to. And I feel like when this person is in the power position, I'm especially feeling like it's the other person for the most case. I feel like it's the other person. I really do. Because I feel like you're getting them in a position of power, and then it's freeing you up to do a lot of things, but having a lot of influence at the same time. You're very happy about this. If that's how this is going, you're very happy about it. This is what you want. If this is how this works out, it should be on board with what you want. So everything seems to be going the way you want it to. I still think that the big thing with this whole reading is to realize how much you've freed this person from constrictive thought. I feel like you very well know they want to keep it quiet on how close the two of you are. But you might want to be also aware that I'm getting it upside down, like to a fault. This person believes in you to a fault. To a fault. So be careful. I feel like you need to be aware of that, because knowing that seems to change how you go forward. And I'm not exactly sure how, but I feel like you might know how. This person believes in you to a fault, which means if you do something a little screwed up, they're still going to go with it. And you might want, and I feel like that's kind of like your safety guard is missing. Like, I don't feel like you'd be opposed to them pointing out something that's going wrong, but they won't because they believe in you. And I feel like that's the thing here. And going forward, you need to be aware of that. If you make a misstep, I feel like you'd prefer they said something to you. But I don't think they will, because they're just going to be like, well, you know what you're doing, and they're not going to question it. And I feel like you need to be aware of that, because it might change how you go forward. That way you're a little bit more careful, and you're realizing, like, if something is a misstep, they're not going to say something, because I don't feel like they are. Like, faith to a fault. I really feel that again. Anything else? All right. I'm going to wrap this up here. Thank you very much for watching. Of course, if you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, james4astral@gmail.com, james4astral@gmail.com. Thank you.